Welcome to my channel. Today we will be visiting the Hougamont Farm Museum near the town of Waterloo in Belgium. This is a short walk from the Battle of Waterloo Museum, which I have covered in another video. 2. Visit Hougamont. You first need to get the ticket from the ticket booth at the Battle of Waterloo Museum. Now, before I proceed any further, as I am not an expert on the Battle of Waterloo, and this is a short video, I highly recommend you watch Battle Guide's full video on Hougamont. In it he has much more details on the battle, including a computer-animated recreation of how the battle played out and the farm itself. A link to this video is provided in the description. Okay, before we visit Hougamont, we will first survey the Waterloo Battlefield from the Butte de Lyon. The museum is to the right of this location and is a short walk through the area where Wellington's army was deployed back in 1815. Okay, this is the path leading to Hougamont from the Battle of Waterloo Museum. This would have been where the Duke of Wellington's forces were deployed during the battle. In the distance, about a kilometre away, would be Napoleon's forces. This is now all farmland. When I was visiting, they were harvesting potatoes. As you walk on the pathway to Hougamont, you will see beautiful farmland and also markers relating to the battle. Here we have a marker for the English lines. This is a bit of a misnomer, as this line would include all of Wellington's army, including the Scottish, Hanoverian and troops from Nassau, Brunswick and Netherlands. Here is the marker that marks the area where Marshal Ney led Napoleon's heavy cavalry in repeated, massive assaults against the Allied infantry squares, starting around 4 p.m. on the day of battle. Thousands of French cuirassiers and lancers charged uphill onto the plateau, aiming to break the enemy lines. They were not successful, and the squares held. This stone marks the specific position of G Troop, Royal Horse Artillery, commanded by Captain A.G. Mercer during the height of the battle. It's a key spot on the battlefield that commemorates a vital action during the French cavalry charges mentioned earlier. The most famous aspect of G Troop's stand is that Captain Mercer disobeyed orders from Wellington to abandon their guns and seek refuge in the nearby infantry squares when the French cavalry closed in. Instead, Mercer kept his men at their 5 9-pounder guns, loading them with canister shot and firing at point-blank range into the massed French cavalry. This mowed down the French cavalry, effectively halting multiple charges in their sector. Okay, we are now reaching the Hougamont farm, as you can see from the marker. This is a scale model from Surrey's precision of what Hougamont Farm would have looked like before the battle. I'll leave a link to this model on their site for those of you who like collecting such models. To get to the museum, we will be walking from the back. See the arrow at the top left of the picture. The entrance is at the bottom center of the picture. Before we do that, I will take a short detour to an area that was known as the killing ground. This is the area on the farm circled in yellow. This was called the killing ground, as it was a distance of about 30 feet between the wall and a wooded area. The French had to clear this ground to get to the wall, which was vigorously defended by the British, Hanoverian and Nassau troops who punched holes through the wall. Those holes are still visible today. Outside the farm is also a memorial to a witness tree. This chestnut tree was present during the battle over 200 years ago. Near the entrance to the farm is a memorial to the 2nd Battalion, Coldstream Guards. To this day, the Coldstream Guards commemorate this heroic action annually with a ceremony known as hanging the brie. Okay, here is what you will see when you enter the farm. This is how the compound looks like. The rooms house museum exhibits, which I will get to later. This wall is the inner wall. The outer wall is what we saw earlier with the killing ground. The ruin you see was the main building of the chateau. It burned down and was never rebuilt as a reminder of the battle. If we peek over the wall, we can see the outer wall that faced the killing ground. You can still see the holes punched through them to enable troops to fire through. This is why Hougamont was defendable. The two walls provided for a layered defense. We now come to the brave action of closing the north gate at Hougamont. Involved the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel James MacDonnell, and Corporal James Graham. along with a small group of other guardsmen. Around 12:30 p.m., a large French force, led by a sous lieutenant named Legros, nicknamed the Smasher, managed to force the north gate of the farm open with an axe. Around 30 French soldiers rushed into the courtyard, threatening to turn the tide of the entire battle for control of the strategic farmhouse. Lieutenant Colonel MacDonald, realizing the critical danger, led a small party of officers and soldiers, including Corporal James Graham and his brother Joseph, in a desperate counter-attack. They fought hand-to-hand amidst the chaos of battle to push the heavy gates shut against the advancing French. This desperate fight has been immortalized by the painting titled Closing the Gates at Hougamont, 1815, by the Scottish artist Robert Gibb. Okay, now we are going into the buildings of the museum to look at the exhibits. Here we find a scale model of the farm before the battle. Here is a life-size diorama of the briefing that was done the night before the battle between Colonel MacDonald and his officers. If you listen carefully, you can hear his briefing.
I have been nominated by His Grace the Duke of Wellington himself as the officer responsible for the defence of Hougamont. Hougamont must not fall to the French. We must all be prepared to fight to the last man to ensure that it does not. Gentlemen, time is short. We have no idea at what time the French may attack, and we must be ready when they do.
This diorama depicts the fierce hand-to-hand fighting at the farm. This is the end of this video. I will end with the memorial to the officers and men of the 2nd Battalion, Coldstream Guards who died defending the Hougamont farmhouse on June 18, 1815. Thank you for staying to the end. I hope that you have found this video useful or entertaining. If you do, please like and subscribe. Many men died fighting this battle. Let their stories be told and help me tell those stories. Thank you.